So let me start my presentation by showing you some numbers in here. All right. Those that are practicing information security PMS, I'm sure you know all these numbers. Majority of you can quickly decipher these numbers are, right? Yeah. When we say here, the number 2 minus 2, the 27701 or PIMS is supposed to be released 2 days back, August 5. But what happened? It was moved plus 2 months. That's the informations that we have received. By October of this year, there's the new release of the PIMS. Okay? And the numbers that you're seeing below, the 31, is actually the personal identification information controls. We have 31, followed by 18 for the processors. Combining the two, we have the 29. All of these controls now that we talk about PIMS is actually 78. Marami na po ang controls natin. Okay? To continue, these information are still part of the FDIS. So what is FDIS? That's the Final Drop International Standard. You know, every ISO, we start from the committee drop, we go into DIS or Drop International Standard. This one is already on its final drop. We're just waiting for some tweak on the standard and it will be released by October, hopefully. All right. To further continue, the release in October 2022 to the 27001, the Information Security, and the Guidance 27002, activated the technical committee of 27 series of the standard to again review and make changes on the PIMS or 27701. That is in 2019. And you would see here the title of that PIMS has been changed into Information Security, Cybersecurity, and Privacy Protection. But basically, it talks about now about the Privacy Information Management System with combination of requirements and guidance. And this standard now is a standalone. You can now go directly to certification of 27701 or PIMS. Unlike before, that before you can go into the 27701, you have to have first the 27001 or Information Security with the guidance of 27002. Puro 27. Okay? But the thing that is highlighted now to the PIMS, you cannot actually exclude any requirements of the standard. Right? Okay. And this standard is now well patterned with the Annex SL, or we call it high-level structure. When we say high-level structure, it has 10 gears in it that is more compatible now to value standards like 9001, quality, environmental, health and safety, business continuity, and so on. All right. To put this in a nutshell, you would see, let's say this is your organization. In your organization, we usually have, we have an input, and there is a process of transformation in order to attain our business objectives. And we usually call that an output. If we have to do everything with quality inside the organization, we call it ISO 9001. That's why we have the QMS. If we will have to make sure that our business is environmentally compliant, we look at the 7 items comprising the environment. What are those? It's the air, it's the water, the land, the flora and fauna. We talk about people and the natural resources. And this is actually talking about the ISO 14001 or Environmental Management System. All right? And if we go further and we take good care of our people in the organization there, and we are now talking about the health and safety, which is about 45,001. In the case of information security, we will have to look at the the data that we have in the organization, private information, we look into it, information security, that is now the term on the ISO 27001, and the focus that I'm discussing right now, the PIMS, or Privacy Information Management System. But again, to those presented, the first line of defense is actually risk assessment that was presented by the speakers, the prior speakers. And we have in a management system, we call it what can go wrong. This is about Murphy's Law. And everything no, that is considered to go wrong, will it go wrong? We just don't know whether mamaya, tonight, 10 years from now, but it will definitely go wrong. So we need to have now a certain standard that would actually support our company to handle that situation. And we call it the business continuity, or ISO 22301. Combining this ISMS, PIMS, and with that BCMS, it has already a good interrelation of these standards. All right? Okay. To further provide you information of the PIMS, for any certified organization now, there is a transition rules. And usually, it is actually given after 1 to 2 months from the release of the standard. If we're expecting that the standard would be released by October of this year, perhaps November or October or January by 2026, the rules will have to be given. But usually, transition from one standard to adapt to the new requirements, an organization is given 3 years. That is actually the usual one. And to further provide you information on the content of this final draft international standard, we have now this Annex A in 3 folds, A1, A2, and A3. The one that I mentioned in the previous slide, in here, the 31 is actually the Annex A before, but it's very clear now because we're talking about controls applied to controllers. The A2 are controls applied to the processors, and the A3 is the combination of both. These are actually the 7 to 8 controls applied now to the PIMS. The second part is the Annex B, again in 3 folds. But it's very easy to understand now that in the 3 folds, we talk about implementation guidance. For the A1, in the previous slide, is about controllers. B2 is about the processors and the combination of the two. And those are actually equate to 7 plus 8 and plus 9 in the old version of the 27701 in 2019. Furthermore, the Annex C, Annex D, Annex F, they're all the same. However, portion of the annexes were actually removed, and that is on how to apply the PIMS in conjunction with the 27001 and 27002. The new one now is the correspondence of the old version, Annex F, to the new version 2025 under the final draft international standard. Okay? Other changes, we've talked about AI. There's better integration now, but the key part there is it encourages ethical and transparent way of having information captured in the AI environment. Another one is the cloud and cross-border data emphasis. Okay, it talks about recognizing data flows globally without borders. So there is a better sharing, flow of information from one country to the other. Another one is the leadership. A strong commitment of leadership. The second bullet is the very popular one, we call it PDCA. Planning, you do, you check, and this part is actually the continual improvement that you're seeing in here. Okay, that's the capture of the PDCA that nowadays we call it a PDSA, or Plan, Do, Study, and Act. And the third one is actually embedding the privacy culture across part of the organization. Okay? And of course, it improves regulatory mapping, particularly with the EU GDPR, the TCPA of the US, and other standards that actually helps the organization to better manage our information in the organization. Okay. I shared a bit about the PMS. Let me continue by sharing you about information on our team SGS. Actually, SGS was founded in 1878 as a grain inspection organization. And in mid-20, we diversified to inspection, testing, and verification. Nowadays, we call it TIZ, testing, inspection, and certification. And in 1981, we are publicly listed in the Swiss Stock Exchange, and we are now, serving the world with 145 years. We are considered number one leader in the TIZ. We have 100,000 employees in the world. We have 2,500 offices and laboratory. In China alone, we have 1,000 laboratories. And we are serving 11 global industries. And that's about SGS. We do assessment, auditing, and certification, supply chain, consulting, training, sustainability assurance, and some of the regulatory like medical device. Okay. So what is digital trust then? If we talk about digital trust, that is actually the name of the game now. The digital trust demands of digital technologies and services, and the organizations behind them are actually acting responsibly, again, to protect people's interests. It's the main idea. And further, those organizations, including bodies, like in the Philippines, we have the PAB and other organization into it. You guys in here are establishing standard and frameworks to ensure that there is more responsible digital transformation. Okay? These discussions are actually under the influence of management system. So let's talk about management system a bit. Management system is actually the management of interrelated processes in the organization in order to attain our business objectives. That's the idea why we're here, to attain our business objectives. Our strategic plan, from today until what time, what year, we need to attain that one. And we call it context of the organization. And in this management system, the objectives can relate to various topics. It could be the product and services, quality, environmental performance, health and safety. Our interest for today's session is about information security. So that is basically the output that we're looking into management system in having the PIMS and the 27001. How do we correlate then these standards I mentioned? For the 27001 here, is actually about information security, guided and supported by the 27002. I mentioned the 27001 or the PIMS is now a standalone standard. You can go directly into that without passing through the 27001. To continue the business, of course, we have to have that 22301 or the business continuity management system to make sure that whatever happened, information security, acts of God, natural disaster, we can still continue the business. There? Okay. Benefits then of why we need to ensure certification or compliance, if I may use the term compliance in here. It increases credibility, risk reduction, integrity, culture transformation, many business opportunities, and of course, confidentiality across the chain. There are some testimonials that we have actually taken so that we can share to those that are still, forcing yourselves to go into internalizing the 27001 and the 27701. Let me read. The implementation of a robust information security management system, or ISMS, has been transformative to us in the organization. It has not only unlocked new opportunities, but also streamlined our operations, strengthened regulatory compliance, and significantly enhanced overall efficiency throughout the entire process. SGS has set an unparalleled standard of professionalism, clarity, and support. Their insightful guidance has been instrumental in driving our operational maturity and achieving sustained excellence. That's from Hani Aquino, Compliance Manager of CS Global Workplace, INC. And there's another one. Here, within our company, we introduced enhanced system processes and policy improvements that not only met compliance requirements, but also elevated our operational resilience. Balancing business continuity with the deployment of quick wins, enhancement, required strategic agility and strong stakeholder engagement. We successfully secured executive buy-in for all critical tasks that was mentioned by the former speaker and fostered a culture of security and accountability across the organization. Having ISO 27001-2022 successfully is a testament to our commitment not only to our customers, suppliers, and external interested parties, but also to regulatory bodies and government compliance. This achievement reflects our dedication to maintaining highest standards of information security. Thank you, SGS, for being trusted partner in the certification journey. Your professionalism, guidance, and global perspective have empowered us to reach this milestone with confidence and pride. This is coming from the Information Security Management Representative and the Data Privacy Officer of one of the biggest companies. They don't want to mention their names in the semicon industry. Here. So why digital trust? We have here, okay, let me show you further in here. The most challenging part in a management system is on how to maintain high-level trust and confidence. So to maintain that trust and confidence, high-level trust and confidence, number one, we have to be successful. In order to be successful in a management system, we have to make sure that an organization needs a guide, a guidance in order to have a meaningful and transparent manner in implementing the management system. So it's about systematic way and transparent implementation of the management system. The second part is how do we sustain success? In sustaining success, it can only be achieved from the effective implementation of a dynamic and comprehensive management system that basically addresses all the needs and expectations of what? All interested parties. Who are those? The customer, stakeholders, leaders, professionals like you, employees, we have the suppliers, the government, all those interested parties that actually benefits in the implementation of our management system. So I'd like to end my presentation that the management system covering all information security, privacy information management is about building trust and confidence so we can move freely. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for listening and good morning.